As you know, today there have been 2 new cases at the border. These cases show the managed isolation system working as it should. They were picked up as part of the new regular testing regime, and the people were immediately moved to the strict quarantine facility at Jet Park. We've also stood up 2 new facilities in Rotorua yesterday. With more and more New Zealanders returning, we need to do more to bring on additional hotel capacity to manage. This means we'll be looking at further facilities outside of Auckland in order to isolate new arrivals. I've seen some commentary to the effect that people don't want these returning New Zealanders in their town. I want to stress, these people are New Zealand citizens and permanent residents. There is no legal basis to prevent them from returning home, and nor would we. So the question is, how do we keep the community safe when they do come home? I know there has been a lot of anxiety felt in the last week. I understand that. No one wants to go backwards, and at this stage there is no reason to do so. None of the testing completed to date indicates there is any spread in the community, and all the new cases have been picked up at the border through the new routine testing that is up and running at our managed facilities. It's also worth remembering that we've had over 20,000 New Zealanders in managed isolation or quarantine since the start of the pandemic. Of those, only 42, a tiny fraction, have had COVID. However, COVID is growing, not slowing. The World Health Organization has said we are entering a new phase of spread globally, and we are seeing more Kiwis coming home from global hotspots, so there is no room for error. So I'll now hand over to Air Commodore Webb to update you on the actions we've taken in the last 48 hours.
Thank you, Minister. As we bring more Kiwis home, we do need to expand our managed isolation facilities and review our processes to ensure border protections remain robust. Repatriation needs to happen in a safe and managed way, which will impose additional inconveniences on travellers. Currently, there are 4,272 people in managed isolation facilities across New Zealand. With more flights expected this week, we are reaching our capacity in Auckland. As a result, we have activated 2 new managed isolation facilities in Rotorua yesterday. Working together with the local district health board and the hotels, the 2 facilities were stood up with the necessary plans in place to receive those returning from 3 Australian flights yesterday evening. The 232 returnees were transferred by 7 dedicated buses from Auckland International Airport to the 2 facilities. On arrival in Rotorua, returnees were moved off the bus in groups and greeted by government and health staff. As part of the arrival process, returnees were given a briefing, completed medical forms, seen by a nurse, and then taken to their rooms. As in other facilities, it was emphasised the requirement for returnees to keep physical distance from others. Today, returnees received further detailed instructions and have the opportunity to ask for welfare support and any other questions they might have. I want to acknowledge that those arriving on this flight had an expectation that they were completing their managed isolation in Auckland. However, an increase in arrivals returning to New Zealand has required us to put alternative plans in place. For example, tomorrow we are anticipating an additional 297 returnees, and Tuesday, which is a big travel day to New Zealand, we're forecasting 590. We have also seen daily arrivals double over the past month. In total, these 2 facilities join 18 hotels in Auckland and Christchurch to provide managed isolation services. The plan to use the Stamford Hotel is still on hold until I am satisfied it is suitable as a managed isolation facility, and these Rotorua facilities were stood up to assist with capacity in Auckland. We are working to address our capacity in Auckland as we expect an increase in arrivals. We will be taking a look at other regions to see if there are other suitable facilities to accommodate future arrivals. While I sympathise with the restrictions travellers face, I make no apologies for the tough rules that are in place. Those returning to New Zealand will require personal sacrifices in order to keep the country free and safe from Covid-19 spread. On top of the extra defence personnel I announced on Friday, we've also increased police presence on site at all hotels. Yesterday in total we had 36 police staff. While these extra staff will be able to help with ensuring returnees follow the requirements of their time in managed isolation, I must stress again the importance of personal responsibility for those in facilities to ensure they are doing what is required of them.